Hi, I'm David Lee Strasberg, and I'm going to be answering questions from some actors, but I also know that some of you out there have questions. If you have a question, send it in to us and we'll see if I can answer it in one of the upcoming videos. Thanks.
Okay.
Good.
So I have another question, and then this question is that coming from a background which is emotionally too active, and I'm really emotional about everything. So even if I have a exercise to do with a coffee cup, I am flooded with so many memories and so many emotions, and I just happen to visit places, and probably I'm supposed to probably bring a joy to it, or just to get a sense of the coffee cup, but I get carried away with so many emotions.
Yeah.
So joy also brings me to a situation where I'm teary, where I'm nostalgic. So how do I take that?
You want to make sure that you tailor your preparation, your technique to you, not to who you wish you were or who somebody else is, or somebody, who another person across the room who you'd like to be. Oh, well, she doesn't cry every time she works, right? There was a story of a guy, Bill Parcells, one of the great football coaches, American football coaches, and at the time he was coaching the Dallas Cowboys, and they had one of the greatest running backs in history, Emmitt Smith, right? And Emmitt Smith, you have no idea who I'm talking about, right? Sorry. Okay.
I do. Okay, got it.
Good. All right. Well, here comes the important part. So Emmitt Smith retires after years and years. He's like the leading rusher. He's got all these records, and they've got this other guy, young guy, 22 years old, comes in to replace him. But the guy keeps showing up out of shape. He's heavy. Right? And I'm not talking about, he doesn't look good in his jeans. No, I mean like he's too heavy to be playing football. He's not fast enough, not doing the things he wants. So he says to, so the coach, Bill Parcells, is a tough guy. And he goes up there and he basically says, "You're looking a little fat." Right? He's not being particularly kind, right? Because you're looking fat. And the guy says, "Hey coach, I'm only eating 2 meals a day as it is." He says, "Oh, you're feeling fat, you should go on a diet." He goes, "I'm only eating 2 meals a day." The coach goes, "Start eating 1. Right? Now, I'm not suggesting that as a weight management strategy. What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what the guy's telling. He's saying, "But coach, I'm on this diet. I'm already cutting my intake." Right? He's saying it's still too much. You're too heavy to be effective doing the job you want to do. Right? You're not in football shape. So it's not just saying, "But I am on a diet," or "But I'm not doing emotional exercises, David. I'm just doing coffee cup." Well, what happens if you don't do any exercise? Right? Or if you don't dive as deeply into the exercise, because right now what may be happening is the emotional kind of current that hits is just overwhelming you. I do think that happens. I think you get a little overwhelmed, and as soon as you get overwhelmed, the mask comes over, and then we just get you seeming, right? Because there's a lot of seeming that goes on with you, and it's interesting that at the same time, there's this whole superficial aspect. You're saying, "Wow, I'm so emotional. I feel things so deeply," right? You might need to go in lighter, easier, and keep backing off, until you can operate, until you have some space, some freedom. Instead of always, because I think part of you doesn't feel like you've done your work unless you dove into that coffee cup, and part of you is also secretly really happy that we're gonna get so emotional during the coffee cup.
Not really. Rather, I feel insecure when I look at people who are not really getting so affected, but is something that's wrong with me because I'm getting so affected and drained out.
Then I'll answer that question right now. There's nothing wrong with you.
Okay.
Right? There's nothing wrong. Everyone has their own instrument.
Yeah.
So don't spend another minute arguing or wistfully wondering about the instrument you wish you had. Right? Well, why can't I have the one like she has? Why can't I do you've got what you've got, right? So you've got to start to get into better relationship with how much is too much for you? At what point do you get overwhelmed? Because an actor who's just overwhelmed with emotion isn't actually valuable to us, right? You need enough energetic charge that you're filled and creative and spontaneous, and then you also need enough control that you can maneuver in that. It's like a car that goes really, really fast, but the steering doesn't work. No one's gonna drive the car, right? The steering has to work, the brakes have to work, not just the engine. So you've got plenty of engine, but you've got to figure out how much gas do you need to give it. And it literally might be just like take your foot off the brake. Don't even give it gas. That would be my suggestion to you in the beginning. Take your foot off the brake, but don't give it gas.
Okay.
So what would that look like technically? How would that appear technically? That metaphor would apply to you.
So I shall limit myself a bit to the extent that I'm concentrating.
What's taking your foot off the brake? What exercise or what activity takes your foot off of the brake?
Not diving too much into the memories.
That's all about gas. Do you understand the metaphor I'm using with it?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, so think of it this way. I won't make it. I'm not trying to fool you. I just want to see what's landing. Relaxation. By relaxing, you're literally like you're removing blocks.
Yeah.
Right? You're getting rid of the brakes. The physical energy that would otherwise keep your voice up here and lock down expression, right?
Mm-hmm.
Blocks sensation, blocks awareness, blocks thought, and certainly blocks impulses and creativity. So go ahead and relax. Do your relaxation, free up the body, but don't maybe for you try like from the relaxation when you go to perform, like don't even do the exercise.
Oh.
What exercise do you need? Like see how little you require to be effective in the scene, or how little you require. Now, if you're saying, well, David, the whole class we're all doing an exercise, right? How little do you require to get the cup? Right? Instead of thinking, let me start here and pull myself back, I'm going, no. Start with, I ain't doing this. David said, don't do it. What if I just wanted to get a little tiny sensation on my finger? Could I do that? What if I just got the smell? That's just a little bit. Like the coffee's there, but it's far away. It's like across the street. I can smell it. You know, start that way. Start from nothing. Instead of saying, oh, I'm all in and now let me scale back a little. Start with nothing.
Okay.
There's no exercise. What if there were a little sense of a teeny little bit of cold? Like just like a quick breeze that came, like, you know what I mean? It's your imagination. You can do anything you want with it. And I would just get it small, while you build some balance in it, right? Because I think the big waves are hitting you. So you need to start in smaller surf. And no judgment on like, but I'm not even doing anything, right? Like, well, it's fine, then you're not doing anything. You're gonna see how little you need to stay in control and have some of your charge available, all right?
Yeah, and that'd be too much.
Right, exactly, not too much. So we're not gonna start from too much and scale it back. We're gonna start from nothing and scale it up.
Yeah.
Right? From nothing to like 0.1.
Okay.
That's interesting. And then you say, wow, at 0.1, I'm still here. Actually, I'm not like flipping out. I'm not overwhelmed. This is really kind of fun. Oh, do I want to do 0.2? Nah, screw 0.2. Okay, fine, 0.2. Right? Like you can just play with it. Play and just an experiment with that instead of going after everything like it's, you know, like I like the part of you where things are life and death because it's the kind of thing that gets you here. You know, it took you a lot to get here. Yeah. So the drive is useful, but now you're employing it in the wrong place. You know, it'd be like a boxer. I like the fact that like when you put that guy in the ring or that woman in the ring, I want her to be fierce. I want her to be a fighter. I want her to beat the crap out of the person across from her. But guess what? When like I invite them over for lunch, I don't still want that. I don't want a guy who's breaking plates and throwing things and hitting me. I'm like, I'm your host. So that skill that you have of like perseverance is useful, but in the right place.
Okay.
All right? Cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.